Right, well, welcome everybody to our first introductory al fresco.
Yeah. This
Here
is
we are.
not al fresco as it's going to be, but this is like the week before where we just want to introduce the idea, the thinking behind it, what's coming up in the series.
Whet
That's the plan.
the appetite.
Yes.
Literally
Yeah.
get us to a point where we are hungry for more.
Yeah. Which is so. One of the things that we've been thinking about is food.
Always.
That when you have a conversation around food, or when you're with people and you're eating together, there's something about the depth of conversation, the depth of, I don't know, openness, humanity, that is really good.
Yes, like when we talk about coming to the kitchen table,
Yeah.
oftentimes like our value of welcoming people and hospitality is this idea that it's around the kitchen table that conversations free flow, that people are vulnerable with each other, but also where food is quite a useful tool to kind of percolate on stuff. So if people kind of share a bit of themselves, you can kind of like take a mouthful of guacamole and mull it over, and it's not like super intense. Like
Yeah. So you have a conversation, it's getting a bit intense.
yes,
It's getting too intense, so I will take a drink.
yeah,
I'll just cut this potato up and a bit of a breather, and then you go, oh, you were saying, and there's something about the rhythm of eating and the courses that come in and the chewing and whatever that slows the conversation down, stills
the
it.
chewing.
It does, doesn't it? Because you can't keep
you
talking.
literally cannot keep going.
You go,
have to. Yeah, give me a second.
So that's good. We know that the Bible is full of meals. So Jesus has that. He has that meal with his friends before he gets tortured and crucified. It's a very open meal. They're all talking. There's a little bit of arguing. He's coming clean. There's something about, and then he even uses the food bit, doesn't he? He says, "Hey, this bit here." So there's something about him. He recognises that when you're around a meal table, you can have deep relationships and something good can happen.
Yeah, and you over the course of lockdown have undertaken a task to make this a more real and tangible experience.
Yes.
Of gathering people around. You've built your own wood fire pizza oven dome behemoth.
Yeah.
In your garden.
In the garden, yeah. So what we did, my son Jake, he was furloughed, so he said, I want a project, and so he decided pizza oven, a wood-fired pizza oven. We looked at some blogs online, a few videos. They're all a bit vague. They're all a bit different. You get an idea that you have to get some sand and you have to get some clay, and somehow you bring those together by stamping on them a lot in bare feet, and then you build.
Do you actually?
Yeah, what you do, you put out, you basically, this is mad and it's dead cheap. You can do this I realised I could live on a desert island and build a house. You get a load of sand, put it down on the ground, you get some clay, you drop bits of clay, like thumb-sized bits of clay onto it, a bit of water, take your shoes and socks off, and then just tread it in for about an hour into all this. You then form it into bricks, and the bricks become, we basically formed a dome out of this stuff. Then did another layer, then another layer, 3 layers of this thing, and you've then got a handy oven that you put some wood in, light it, it gets pretty hot, the floor gets mega hot, the whole thing is hot.
400 degrees?
400 degrees C, which is like twice the amount of your normal oven.
Sure.
The flame grills the top, the bottom cooks, the floor cooks the bottom of the thing you're doing, and the general heat that stays in this dome means you cook really quickly. So we built that, and we're wanting to invite you round to our pizza oven so we can have a table and chat.
Yeah.
So we'll try some dishes in this over the next few weeks.
Not just pizza.
I want to try. We'll do some pizza, but I want to try
Variety.
some other things
Yep.
with you. See what you think. You bring some suggestions in as well.
I'm a cooking dunce.
Okay. Okay.
Like my whole life, I'll specialise in one thing for a brief period of time and feel like I've excelled. So at the moment, it's pancakes. The kids love them.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm pretty narrow in my field of expertise. So
Let's open it out. Although having said that, if you've got a pizza oven and people just want pizzas, you get a bit sick of pizzas after a while.
Right.
Having said that, they're amazing. They're the best pizzas I've tasted.
I could definitely do pizza most days of my life. I
Okay.
feel.
Oh, well,
They're
this
quite a
is for you.
versatile food, aren't they?
This is for you. We can point everyone to the blog that we kind of followed that helps you build this thing.
Just going to attack by a
Yeah,
bee there.
big, huge, big bee.
We're doing a blog on the-
Look, hey.
We're doing a blog on the.
No, I'll
on the
point
food.
people to the blog. But for now,
The BBC.
there's a bee behind you. But
Yeah.
how about we get some apples?
Yes, because it wouldn't be al fresco without.
No, it wouldn't, because we haven't got any
something
food.
Thank you.
So some,
I should sanitise this.
yeah, I don't know, a little bit not quite ready to be plucked. But
I mean-
never mind.
Mine's got interesting. But hey,
Mine's very green. So we know in church that if you gather people around a table and you talk, this is hospitality. This is the essence of what we're about as church. Clearly Jesus knew it because he invited people to his table, or he went to their table. It's something all the way through the Bible. So if we replicate that and invite people to our table, have a conversation with them, listen to their stories, I'm hoping that what will happen is, on a Tuesday evening, what we'll do is we'll explore faith, life, what the Holy Spirit has done in people's lives, and we'll get a little bit closer to the truth who lives in each of us.
yeah.
That's the plan.
So it's we're sharpening each other, we're hearing each other, we're listening,
Yeah.
and hopefully we're being transformed in that. That
Yeah,
there's a learning and there's a growing and a.
In the talk and in the eating, there is this story in the one of the first stories of maybe it is the first story of this. I don't know. Abraham, he's sitting like we are sitting in the heat of the day because it's boiling hot out here. He's
Boiling
sitting,
roasting.
yeah. He's sitting outside his tent in the heat of the day, and he sees three people come to him, and so he bows low, invites them in. They cook a meal, and as he's having this meal, they have a conversation together, and it turns out these three visitors, they're probably angels, or it seems like they're angels, but then it also, the more they talk, it's like, is this God? And scholars have said, well, maybe this is maybe this is Father, Son, and Spirit coming to meet with Abraham. Anyway, there's a table, and Abraham is around this table with these three. They speak into his life. They say, you're going to have a son, Isaac. The promise of God is going to be fulfilled in you. And it's all really intimate, and it's life-changing, and it happens as he offers hospitality to these three people. And I wonder if there's something in that story, not just about God speaking to your life, but the context of God speaking, which is get close, get intimate, open your hearts up to one another and to God, feast together, and see what I'll do.
Food is the great hook for all of us. We all need it. We all like it. Presumably, most people get a kick out.
We've all got our favourite
yeah,
foods, haven't we?
Yeah, like if you could only eat one thing now for the rest of your life, what would that thing be? I think mine would be it would be pizza.
Would it?
Yeah, if I could vary the toppings, but it's got the bread, the fats, the protein.
See, I'm a
stuff
pudding.
on there.
I would go pudding. And I don't know if I would go rhubarb and ginger meringue, which is like my favourite pudding, or because I so like chocolate, whether I'd have to have some chocolate
Interesting.
in the mix. In terms of drinks, it would be a
do
cup of
that.
tea. If I could only have one sort of drink,
Yeah,
it would be a cup of tea.
interesting. Interesting. I would have thought you'd be a coffee,
No.
but anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to ask our guests. We coincidentally have 3 guests per
Okay, like Abraham.
episode,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
good,
Abraham.
Good. Just following in his
Yeah,
footsteps.
and we're going to ask those guys what it is that they are bringing to the table, as it were.
Like
So-
what food they bring.
Yeah. So what would be their favourite thing? Maybe some of them will cook it. Maybe some of them will just describe it to us so we can salivate as we think about it. But yeah. So it's kind of a little theme,
Okay.
our alfresco theme.
Yeah. So it's a
interesting.
bit light-hearted, enjoying some food, chatting about food, which is
Yeah.
what most human beings like to do.
We love it.
So next level down is we also want to chat about faith, about what happens in people's hearts, about hearing people's stories. And again, like we said, we're more likely to get some stories if we're eating or at least talking about food.
Yeah.
So we're going to choose a different slightly different theme each week.
Yep.
We've gathered some people around a theme. So, for instance, we've got a theme of...
This is in no particular order.
No, I don't know quite when in the series this is going to come.
I'm going to feel it.
A theme of like, when people have chosen to pursue faith in such a way, they go, I'm just going to do this in my life for my job. I'm not going to have another job. I'm just going to do this. And I want to somehow proclaim Jesus, or I want to serve him. I want to do Christian ministry. And so we've got 3 people looking at Christian ministry like that. One of them is your dad.
Yes.
Your dad.
Yes, Colin Stevenson,
Yeah.
Esquire.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how come, tell us about, give us a little taste of...
A little
Of Colin.
A taste of Colin.
Yeah.
Well, a Scripps Union children's evangelist for
Right.
a figure that I should know, but it's upwards of 30 years, before segueing out of that into a ministry with a double-decker bus, and then in between that just trying to, I guess, stay ahead of the curve on like how you engage with young people. So he's done all sorts of things over the years, and he was like...
Give us some of his coolest tricks. What's he done? How did he engage with children?
Well, literally, he did magic stuff. Like he had like illusion things that he would do, and it blew my mind. I would go and kind of hang out on some of these holiday camps that he would do, and he would do these, which baffles me now because I kind of got into like some close-up tricks, and then I subsequently tried to teach my dad how to do some of these things, and there seems to be a disconnect between like what I'm doing and what he's trying to emulate. So I don't know how he managed to do it back in the day, but he had these incredible routines.
So what Dave is saying about his dad was brilliant at magic tricks, but just in these latter years,
in his more senior,
perhaps isn't as interested in learning a new trick.
I don't know. There's got to be something said for like the old grey matter,
Okay.
You know.
What else?
Anyway,
Give me some other indicator. I know how else did he teach children? Give me some other ways that he...
well, he was kind of had this whole get up where he'd had fuzzy felt figures on a board and teaching stories.
Sorry, stop.
Okay.
Stop. I don't know about you. Do you understand what Dave just said? Fuzzy felt. Some of you will go, yeah, I understand that because I had that. Others will go, I don't know what you're talking about.
Telling Bible stories, and all the characters were made out of this kind of felt that stuck magically to a background. It was bizarre and wonderful visual storytelling. It was great, and he used to have an accordion. Probably don't even know what an accordion is.
Right, what's an accordion, Dave?
Just the squeezy bella box that you just kind of...
Music.
Yeah.
And he'd sing songs.
And it had a name, which I thought was totally normal growing up.
What do you mean it had a name?
Well, it was called Freddie.
Oh, okay. So there was a personality to this thing.
Yeah.
You've left Freddie in the car.
And all the kids would have to shout,
Freddie,
wake up, Freddie, and then Freddie would come out and play.
Yeah.
It was glorious. And my dad, full of beans, full of energy, hype the kids up crazy, but be able to control the dial of the room, of the energy, just masterful with the way that he would kind of do this stuff with all these kids that go mad for it. So kind of growing up watching that was something.
So we're going to talk to him about what he did, but also the choices he made in terms of, okay, I'm choosing to do this. What the impact of that on, say, the family? If you're doing that, you're not going to do something else. How does it affect him? How did he carry on staying fresh in the Lord and over the course of all that time? Another guest joining him is someone else. Now he was in Risenbrook Church he's been in the church for like, I don't know, for 40, 45 years or something. Long time, hasn't he? Yeah, long time. Another guest who's been in the church, who was in the church back in the day, is, it might be 2 of them, Pauline and Alexei. Pauline and her husband Alexei. Pauline was brought up at Risenbrook Church years ago. Her dad actually was the minister. She then left Stafford, went to Russia, doing Christian ministry again, like Colin, choosing this is what I'm going to do with my life. Meets Alexei, who's a Russian guy, fall in love, get married, have children, carrying on doing ministry now. So she, like your dad, has made this choice, this is what I'm going to do with my life. starting a church, leadership development, a language school, a bakery, youth camps,
All the
loads
things.
and
All
loads
the-
of
all the
stuff.
things.
So it'd be interesting to ask her the same questions as your dad. You know, what got you into this? What's the impact on your family been? Do you enjoy it still?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
how'd you stay fresh?
And like historically, because of the connection that they had, obviously, as Rising Brook back in the day, was there something in the temperature that
Yeah.
spiritual that they could comment on? Because there'd be a lot of people, I guess, who, you know, I think they joined the church roundabout when I was born, my sister was born, so that's like 36 years ago. That's a long time ago for lots of people.
Yeah.
What was Rising Brook like back then, and what was happening that was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
catalyst maybe for people?
Because
shooting
I
off into
wonder
mission?
if actually, it'd be good to ask them that. I wonder if God was doing something back in the day in Stafford at Rising Brook, filling people with his spirit and, I don't know, using, say, your dad, who'd already made that choice, but he arrives in the church and goes, this is a good place for me. So why is it a good place for him? It must be something that sends him out on mission. Pauline is growing up in the church, she gets sent out on mission. So something was going on. What was it? It'd be great to hear from them if they could put their finger on what's the ethos, what was happening in those days that meant it was an attractive place to come to, but also it pushed people out.
Yeah.
Third guest, actually, again, he's been part of Rising Brook for years and years and years,
Yeah.
and was there with your dad and was there with Pauline, Ian White. Now Ian as well, he's a songwriter, and he's going to sing a song for us,
Yeah.
at us, with
Yeah.
us, which is perfect because that's what you do when you're around the campfire or even in your house. A minstrel comes along. Someone says, "We've eaten. Let me just play something for you on the piano?"
And tell you a tale of yore. But Ian is kind of like, growing up, Ian to me was this musical genius who was able to just kind of pick up anything and play. So who knows what it is that he's gonna
Yeah.
pull out, because
He plays just about every instrument,
he plays
doesn't
everything. He records everything. He has
Yeah.
a studio that
Yeah.
he can do all that stuff.
He even makes his own instruments. He's making a guitar at
But
the moment.
legitimate instruments, not
Yeah.
like you know, if I was going to make an instrument, it'd be like a plastic PVC pipe that I'd blow down. He can make proper things.
Yeah.
And he's like an artist in the making of the music
Yeah.
instrument and then playing it. It's
He
just
does
the
everything.
whole
He does
pack-
it.
the whole
He
package.
is a bit of a genius, isn't he? So it's going to be good to hear him talk, and it's going to be good to listen to him. And in each of our episodes, we're going to have a songwriter from church who will contribute to the discussion and to the stuff about food, but will also sing a song.
Yeah.
Which would be quite nice for us to maybe promote a little bit of songwriting within church and say we should be doing this a bit more.
We
perhaps.
absolutely should be doing this a lot more. I mean, and this is, if this is the first of, I guess, a conversation that we've been talking about having in a more this kind of arena for a long time. The same goes for worship songwriting, or
Yeah.
just songwriting about the heartbeat of what's going on in Rising Brook community. So, yeah, it feels like things are stirring. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and maybe this, if we hear from 5 or 6 people, and I think it will probably get us excited that maybe God will give us some songs by His Spirit in our church, and they'll emerge from different people, and we'll end up literally singing the songs that God has put in our hearts.
There's a cool idea.
It would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, really good.
It'd be good.
Yeah. So who else have we got?
So, talking creativity.
Yeah.
Whether it's songwriting or doing things in new ways, worship in fresh ways, praying in different ways, evangelism in new sorts of ways. We've got some guests who we want to talk to about how their creativity meant that they engaged in Christian ministry in really exciting ways. That's one of our episodes, isn't it?
Yep.
One of them was a school friend of yours.
Yes.
You're at school with him.
Yes. Matthew.
Matthew Long.
Matt Long. Yeah.
He's just a brilliant guy. It's going to be great to hear from him. Another was someone I was doing church with years and years ago, Andy Presty, where he used to write he and a friend used to write all the worship songs that we did in church. So we didn't do anyone else's. they wrote them all. They nicked some songs from that were in the charts at the time, and we used those in worship. So we'll hear from him about what he was doing back in the day.
Back in the
And
day.
Gemma Cherry, who we're talking now, the day after a Sunday, where Gemma was talking about her work.
Yes.
She's pretty creative, isn't she?
She's, very, very creative. And I had the pleasure of filming that, Gemma. And what's funny is, and oftentimes with these videos, when you don't see behind the scenes, you don't see all the stress and angst that goes into, people putting themselves onto film, as it were. It's not film. But filming Gemma, she was kind of just like, if only I could articulate this thing. And then she proceeded to just pour out this incredible, eloquent and passionate kind of monologue about how she, the heart for hospitality and the creativity that comes with that, and trying to give the best. And you heard it if you watched that Sunday.
It was like a preach. She took it from Ephesians. She said, and as it says in Ephesians, and then she just opened her heart and taught us. She preached for us, and it came out of this passion she's got. She looked quite joyful about what she does. She says, I plan events and weddings, and I'm a part-time florist and whatever else she said. But it then just poured out of her, didn't it?
Yeah.
And that is worship. And I know the same happens with Matt Long. It just pours out of him. And I know with Andy as well. It's just talking to him about worship is fantastic. It's really exciting. So we'll hear from the three of them about their experiences, maybe as they've use their creativity either in evangelism or in worship or in discipling other people, because they've all had different experiences in that. Maybe together we could learn something about how we go forward in church on those sorts of things.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
So, do make sure that if you're not already subscribed to the channel, then do that and hit the notification button. That way you get alerted to all these videos that we keep pumping out, and enjoy that. I'm really excited about this because I think oftentimes we can stand at the front of church and we can say some stuff, but actually having more of an informal conversation around stuff gets you perhaps a deeper insight into the heart behind some of it, and some nuances and some context and some personality that sometimes you just can't get on a Sunday morning. So hopefully you can glean some of our heart for some of this stuff and the exciting stuff that we want to kind of push into, but also hear from some of the other people that we think are kind of paving the way forward in some of these areas that we can all benefit from learning from. So stay tuned to Alfresco, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
We'll see you then.
There we go, first Alfresco session in the bag. How did it go?
Well, a couple of things. First, we did a fantastic first take, and then realised that none of the audio had been recorded. Then we did a second take, which was actually really fantastic. And then it just the rain came, and it got quite cold. Actually, it was quite cold and quite rainy. It's like you don't know if it's actually going to so pour down that you just got to run in. So, but on the whole, it's great. I'm looking forward to the series. I am looking forward to it.
And from my perspective, I've got very cold thighs. But yes, it went rather well. So, fun times.